Hey everybody, it's Wave Storm Tracking Team Meteorologist Ryan Hoke here. This is it. Welcome to Sunday of Derby Week. We have finally made it to the most important, pretty much 7-day period here that we see across Wave Country and, of course, the Louisville Metro here. Behind me, the beautiful Twin Spires of Churchill Downs, courtesy our SkyTrack camera in South Louisville. Let's put that up full for you so you can see what it looks like there. We just got finished broadcasting a very successful 69th annual Pegasus Parade here on Wave. We are the official broadcast home for that parade each and every year. The weather today was great. The winds were a little high, but with those cool weather inflatables, or those cool air inflatables, I should say, that they have now as opposed to the helium-filled ones, it's a little easier to get by with some of these wind gusts than it was in the past there. And also saves helium, which is important for the medical industry too. So two good things about that there. Hello to all of our viewers here on Facebook, YouTube, Wave Weather Now, our exclusive live stream on the Wave Now app for your smart TV and Wave Weather app for your phone and your tablet. We've got a few folks in here this evening. It looks like we've got at least 100 folks there. And live on the line here is Terry Allen on Facebook. He says, is it going to snow? No snow, fortunately, unless you're Brian Good. He likes the snow all the time. So there's definitely that component of it, too. And then we've got Jackson on YouTube. Thanks to all of our YouTube viewers. That's an emerging platform for us here. Is there any severe wet on Friday for Oaks? Severe weather threat on Friday. There is at least a small chance for some stronger storms. There's no wholesale severe weather threat that's huge or anything like that at the moment. So that's some good news. But we'll discuss that stronger storm potential for Friday in just a few minutes. Oaks does not look to be a washout, but there is a sizable storm chance at least pinned to that day. But that day encompasses 24 hours. It's not going to be like that the whole day. Hope that makes sense. We're still many days from that, and things will, of course, be evolving as we get a little closer to that. Jackson says he has not checked on the latest model runs there for Oaks Day. Yeah, there is a little bit of instability there for Friday, I should say, there for Oaks, but we'll talk more about that here in just a second here. We've also got Ohio Valley Storm Chasing. Jason on YouTube, good to see you as well. And we will, of course, carry everybody through the next few days worth of weather, which are very consequential. So let's get right to it, shall we? This is kind of the bottom line on our Oaks and Derby forecast right now. For Friday, we've got a 78-degree high temperature and a 60% chance of thunderstorms. Like I just mentioned, for those of you just joining us here, this is not a washout, but there is a period of thunderstorms that will happen at some point. And right now it looks later in the day. We'll show you that kind of hour-by-hour storm chance or rain chance graph that we have here in a second. But this is not set in stone, and we are still not taking off the Derby rain chance just yet, despite the current data really backing off on that, just because some of the ensemble model data, or like deeper model runs or different model runs within the same model, still suggesting that a few of those showers from late Friday night may try to linger into early Saturday. I don't want to, out of an abundance of caution, take that out just yet. We may be able to do that tomorrow when we get some more confidence and some more data in here. So hopefully that can take place. But this is your Oaks and Derby forecast as it stands right now at 7:03 p.m. on the Sunday before Oaks and Derby. Still many days to go, but we want to give you the earliest alert. Today was perfect. High temperature was around 83 degrees, temperatures in the 70s and 80s. Now, as we zoom things out, you'll notice that it is quiet across all of Wave Country here, but you don't have to go too far to the west to eastern Oklahoma and eastern Texas east of the I-35 corridor, where they've got several tornado warnings at this time. This has been a tremendous severe weather period for the plains the last several days. I mean, we've had just insane video out of Nebraska. I believe that was on Friday. I showed that on the air just a few hours after it happened. Parts of Omaha were destroyed in that tornado. Unfortunately, we have had some fatalities in Oklahoma here this weekend. This has been really active, continues to be like that, shifted a bit east. We are not expecting severe weather from this system, all right? So I know a lot of folks get on edge when you see severe weather out to the west. The jet stream is not oriented such that it's going to bring this through here with severe weather. No, this is going to kind of curve mainly to the north and east and not toward us so much, all right? Nonetheless, you'll see they've got that enhanced risk of severe weather well placed, it seems, where they've got two of those tornado warnings, or at least one of them, I should say, down there in eastern Texas, and that slight risk encompasses that eastern Oklahoma part there. It ranges into the Ozarks here, a little closer to the overnight hours. There is a bit of a break in this for those folks out in the plains, thankfully, by tomorrow, as it looks like the severe weather threat is lower and shifts down to the Gulf Coast region. But guess what? The atmosphere recovers insanely fast here. I mean, that Gulf Coast, or Gulf moisture, I should say, is going to be roaring back in. The winds are going to be still pretty high in the upper levels of the atmosphere here. And we're going to bring back that severe weather threat to an area that does not need it, the Omaha to Des Moines corridor, where they have just been absolutely just plagued by this stuff. And here it comes again in time for Tuesday. We'll see how that works out. Hopefully we can avoid any major severe weather problems out there. All right, eyes are back on us now here in Wave Country for Derby Week. The Great Bed Races, they are tomorrow. They are here in Wave. And for the first time in a while, we actually have a bed that we're going to be racing. Some of our staff will be in there too, so you'll be able to see a few folks with familiar faces racing in some of the races there. Temperatures will be in the 70s. The only problem is that the storm chance will be increasing during the bed races. But I don't necessarily think Louisville will get hit during them. I think it would be after that point. We'll just have to see just how fast these storms move in. But you'll see right now, I've got a 100% chance of storms by midnight. This is Monday night into very early Tuesday here. This leaves most of the daylight hours on Monday dry. So we'll be able to get through morning commute, midday, no problems. Evening commute, we'll start to watch the storms out to the west, but they really won't be here yet until after like 8, 9, 10 o'clock, and then they're really here. The severe weather threat with this is exceptionally low. I think the heavy rain threat is something we have to watch with this, though. It's not going to be a huge deal, but if you were to watch something, that would be it. Here it is on Futurecast. You see to our west as we head toward Monday at 8 a.m., we do have some of those showers out there, but they will be kind of dying as they move in. We'll kind of lose that low-level jet support for them, and it'll really just be kind of a day with some sun, some clouds, and highs in the muggy 70s and 80s. And then these storms really move in after 8 p.m. And these look severe, but they're not. I don't think they will be. We just don't have the right wind profile in the atmosphere for that. But we're trading that for heavy rain. I was looking at some of the atmospheric soundings, basically looking at temperature, moisture, and wind throughout the different profiles of the atmosphere going all the way up to space, essentially here. And there is moisture in the atmosphere going way up in the atmosphere. It was more of a tropical sounding than it was a severe weather sounding. To see severe weather around here, typically you need some dry air at the mid-levels of the atmosphere to mix down and get some, nasty wind gusts and more than that even. But this is more of a tropical setup where you just get heavy rain and some lightning. And I think that's what we're going to face Monday evening based on those soundings. This is a snapshot of what 11 p.m. looks like here. And you'll see that we've got that line of storms pretty much traversing the I-65 corridor here with the heavy rain. Again, this does not look like a big deal severe weather-wise at all, mainly just strong storms with heavy rain and some lightning here. And then we get raked over the coals here again with more of these storms in southern Kentucky early Tuesday morning, 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. And that will lead to some pretty heavy rainfall totals down there in southern Kentucky if this is to be correct here, which I think it's pretty close. We'll keep a few showers in the forecast early Tuesday morning. So Tuesday morning commute could see a couple of downpours and showers. But after that point, this is over. So most of Tuesday is dry and fine. That takes us to Tuesday afternoon for 5-0 Tuesday, kind of Louisville's day at Churchill Downs here on Derby Week. Temperatures will be in the 70s, got a few clouds around, but an agreeable day nonetheless. Champions Day is on Wednesday at Churchill Downs here. Temperatures in the 70s and 80s. And we still look dry. There may be a few pop-up showers, possibly a pop-up thunderstorm, but I've kept that chance at a minimum, only 20% at this point. I think the atmosphere is going to have a hard time after Monday really recovering fast enough to give us much of a storm chance on Wednesday. And, of course, for the Great Steamboat Race, that's good news, too. Temperatures will be in the 80s. This will be kind of like a summer-like party on all of those vessels that will be going down the Ohio River there, racing for the antlers there. Now, on for Thursday, we do start to increase the storm chance, but this has been the big change today, pushing the storm chance really off of Thurby and onto Oaks. There's pluses and minuses for that, for depending on which day you're going to be out there, which day you've got a party, which day you are most sensitive to, all right? So if you are sensitive to Thursday, that's an improvement. If you're sensitive to Oaks on Friday, that's not great, all right? And we'll discuss that here in just a moment in more detail. But for Thurby itself, based on the latest data that I've seen, I've been able to push that storm chance down to a 20% chance and have highs in the mid-80s. So, I mean, that's kind of like just the gist of what Thurby is, but we are still several days away from this. Know that there will be some changes. I do want to get to a few of your comments first. Don't want to leave you guys in the dust and just go on this like 15-minute diatribe here. So I want to make sure that we're at least getting to some of those here. Jackson's been very active in the chat here from YouTube. Storm chasers had wide open views of tornadoes because it was daytime. There were multiple tornado emergencies. Yes, that's what we saw late last week, Friday, Saturday. Just terrifying stuff out there in the plains. Angela Vanderberg's on the line with us on Facebook. Hello to you, Angela. Let's see if we've got Shonda. Shonda's with us here from Jeffersonville. Glad to see you on here as well. Is anybody else in the room here? Let's see. Jackson just got the Wave Weather app notification. So yes, we send out notifications when we're live here. Makes it easier to, of course, see when we're live. Scott on YouTube says, I really like the Pegasus Parade. Well, thank you. Yeah, we produce that every year live on television, and we stream it live as well. Ashley, of course, with us here on Facebook. What is the severe weather risk for the next few days? And she said, I think you're answering that now. And that's indeed correct. We have been talking about that here for a little bit. Let's see. Jason from Ohio Valley Storm Chasing on YouTube asks, probably very photogenic lightning for Monday evening. Yes, I do think so. Just be safe, of course. We don't want folks out in the storms if they don't know what they're doing there. I know a lot of lightning photographers like this time of year because it gets a bit more active, and that is indeed the case here. Okay, Thurby, Oaks, and Derby rain chances. Okay, I'm showing this to you, but I also want to put a big old caveat on this. This will change. I guarantee it. I am willing to put a whole lot of pesos on this, that this thing is going to look different because it already has changed a lot in the last 12 to 24 hours. But this time of year, the weather is so sensitive for these events that we want to give you our thinking down to the hour if we can, just with you knowing that you got to take this with a grain of salt. You can't make your plan solely on looking at this once. You have to keep checking back on the Wave Weather app and here on these broadcasts and on Wave on television as well. We will show you updated versions of this Thurby, Oaks, and Derby rain chance graph over the next several days. What I want you to take away from this is just kind of the trend, but not the specifics, all right? The trend is that the rain chance is highest for Oaks Day of that 3-day period, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. And the highest rain chance of Oaks right now looks to be sometime in the afternoon or evening. That is very subject to change. It could get pushed off to even later into like midnight Derby morning, like super early Derby. So we'll see how that works out. This front that's going to be moving through here will have some instability with it. So these will be thunderstorms. Some of the sort of machine learning data that we look at to see if there's going to be severe weather in the long range is like, maybe a few strong storms. But it's so early, it's hard to say for sure. Looking at some of the long-range model data, it's like, okay, there could be a few stronger storms, but I don't see anything that's like, OMG, alarming, okay? That's good. So we are still days away from this. This is going to change. I hope you got that message because that's so important. The weather, especially in April and May around here, is tough to get precision on more than a couple days in advance. We can give you a good idea for like, okay, for this day, we've got a storm chance somewhere in this box and the high will be this. For this day, some storm chance somewhere in this box, high temperature here. But to go sub-day into the hour-by-hour part of this, it's hard when you're this far out in time. But we do this as a service to you guys just so that you know what our thoughts are heading into this. That's probably clear as mud for some folks, but I think at least most of us will get the idea there. And the same goes for this hour-by-hour forecast. I started this hour-by-hour forecast, putting this out this evening here because I felt that we were close enough to at least kind of show what the trend is on this. Know that this storm chance will probably tighten up a lot, meaning that it's not going to be as high of a chance as you see here during as long of a period. So we will have periods where it will likely go down to like 20%, all right? Oaks is not a washout. I'm going to say that one more time. Oaks is not a washout. What we do have is the potential for a cold front to move through at some point, and I think it might be later in the day, but again, timing is still iffy this distance out. That would bring us a likely chance of storms. So storms are likely on Oaks Day at some point. It may be late at night. It may be in the middle of the day. We're still kind of iffy on that. But if I were to be a betting man and to put my wagers down, lots of horse racing sort of like metaphors here, this is what I would put down, is this list right here with the knowledge that we will likely be able to tighten this up, all right? So it'll be fewer of these sort of hourly slots that you see here with higher storm chances like that. We kind of have to broad brush this distance out just so that folks don't see like a 20% chance to go, oh, it's fine, and then tune out and don't check back. That's what we don't want to happen because it is so early. I think you get the gist. It's early, right? So we have not done an hour by hour sort of forecast for Derby just yet. I think we'll get to that tomorrow. I just want to give that another day to cook before I'm putting that out there, because this is even more sensitive for a lot of folks than the Oaks Day forecast even is. I know a lot of folks are off on Friday. A lot of schools are out. That's how I was growing up around here, having Oaks Day off. It was awesome. But you get the idea here that Saturday seems to be less exposed to the storm chance than Friday, with the sort of, caveat again that this is not set in stone. I'm keeping this 30% rain chance on Derby right now just because my confidence on that storms or the line of storms from Friday night getting out if you're in time for Saturday morning is not great. And there are some of those ensemble model data members, I talked about those a little earlier in this broadcast here, that try to keep a few showers around during the day on Derby as that front kind of drags itself out of here more slowly than other pieces of data may suggest. Because of that uncertainty, I've kept that 30% in. We might be able to take it down to a 20% tomorrow, though. All right. I need more data before I can really do that. But you'll notice I changed the icon from showers to partly sunny. So I was at least able to do that today. This is literally just piecemeal giving you the details, the update, because it is that important, all right? Because it's literally the biggest day of the year in Louisville, Kentucky. Want to make sure that it is just every little detail is kind of put out there, full transparency, so that you all know exactly what I'm thinking when I'm sitting down at my computer 80 feet that way, putting together all of what you see here. This is not just pulling it out of my woohoo. This is looking at the data and trying to figure out exactly what's going to happen days in advance. And that is really tough, especially this time of year. All right, so I hope that makes sense for you guys. I do want to show you one thing I neglected to put in here, but I can actually put it up right now, is the future cast for this period, just to show you the two fronts, the two rain chances. Here it comes. And the headline on this is Wet Oaks, Decent Derby. Again, it's not a washout for Oaks. It's just wet at some period during Oaks Day. All right. I hope that makes sense. So you'll see that Thurby is on your screen now. Looks pretty dry. The storms will be out to our west because that's where the front would be. And for you model nerds out there, this is the 12Z European model I'm showing here. This is Oaks morning at 7 a.m. And notice the rain is to our west. Again, this is one model run for many days in the future here. So a lot's going to change. Don't take this as the full gospel. Keep checking back our forecast. It will likely evolve. I'm pretty certain of that, as we discussed earlier. But this particular model is trying to bring in some pretty wet weather, around midday on Oaks Day, and keep it around possibly during the, Oaks race here. So what I did, and you saw our forecast earlier, that hour-by-hour rain graph, and it had the highest rain chance, mid-afternoon through the evening hours, is I kind of averaged the timing of this European model and the GFS, or the American model's idea of it, where it had it a bit later. And that average came out to something like what you just saw on the hour-by-hour rain chance graph. So that's why we have the forecast the way we have it now. It is super important for us to be transparent this week because there are going to be things that are moving and shaking. We're always giving you kind of the behind the scenes look at how our weather forecast looks, especially on here because we have time to and the resources too. But this week is really, really, really important for that. So that's why we're doing it this way here. Saturday, and again, this is just one model run of one model. It takes the front off into the Appalachians, dries us out, and things look okay for Derby. That is one model run's idea of this. We'll see how that works out as we get a little closer to that first Saturday in May. I'm going to pop up the 10-day earliest alert and answer some more of your questions here, and maybe go back to a few pieces of data if you guys want to see that again here. Just leave your comments and your questions in the chat of either YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, whatever platform you're on, and I'll be able to see all of those aggregated right here so I can answer them as I can. All right, so you see the 10-day there. It's got the Oaks and Derby forecast, and that is kind of where we're going to leave it for now and get to some of your comments. All right, so we've got a few folks Ashley says, are we good for tonight? Yeah, we're fine tonight. No problems. I'm getting ready to go eat dinner here in 10 minutes, if that gives you a sense of how good we are. No storms tonight, that's for sure. Amy was asking about how it looks for Friday. My son has prom in New Albany. It is prom season. There's a little bit more than just Oaks and Derby going on around here, especially across the river. And at this point, there is a storm chance, Amy. And like I was talking about with Oaks Day, which is Friday, keep checking back. We don't have enough confidence to say it will definitely storm at this hour on Friday. We just don't, and we won't for days. But we do have an idea to move through on Friday at some point, maybe late in the day. We'll see how that works out. There's been a lot of changes in the forecast already over the last 24 hours. So if the last 24 hours are any example here, there may be more of these changes to come. So big disclaimer, huge disclaimer on all of that, just so you guys know, all right? Let's see. Shonda said, I didn't think they did that. Did they? Prom on Derby Eve? Yeah. I mean, keep in mind, Shonda, that not everybody, lives in kind of the bubble of Louisville here as you kind of get away from the city. Life is a little different on Oaks and Derby Day. We serve 34 counties around here. So you get the idea that, Friday and Saturday in Louisville are probably a much different feel than, Friday and Saturday in Seymour, Indiana, or down in Columbia, Kentucky. We reach both of those locations. They're well more than an hour drive away from Louisville at this point. Let's see here. Amy says Austin Scott County schools. She was talking about the prom earlier. So yeah, Austin's a few minutes north of Louisville. So probably they're still having some very normal things happening on Friday night because it's not Louisville, it's Scott County, Indiana. So a little bit different up there. Let's see. Brenda Rickard is on YouTube. She says, my granddaughter is 11 and loves the weather. She's tracked the Weekend Outbreak with Ryan Hall and on the Weather Channel. Yeah, I'll tell you what, both of those platforms have been busy. The live streamers, the folks on YouTube and all those other live streaming platforms for storm chasing, things like Live Storms Media. There's so many streaming platforms for storm chasers out there. YouTube kind of aggregates a lot of them, though. They've all been really, really busy. Lots of, very adrenaline-fueled days because it's important that we see that these tornadoes are touching down and where. It gives the Weather Service a heads up, make sure the warning's getting out there properly, gives first responders the heads up. This stuff is critically important. These guys aren't just joyriding around looking for tornadoes. They are doing a critical public service by being storm spotters and making sure that, the folks who are downwind of this stuff know it's coming. I mean, heck, we've had fatalities over the weekend in the plains in Oklahoma. We had neighborhoods pretty much flattened in the Omaha, Nebraska area. So this is that time of year. Late April is go time, unfortunately, for severe weather in the plains. And it can be around here, but I will say, we've had some pretty bad severe weather, obviously, already this year between March 14th and April 2nd. But I'm not seeing anything at this moment that rivals that in our long-term forecast. I will say as we head toward after Derby, the pattern may get a bit more active, but there's not a lot of confidence on that. Again, this time of year, low confidence, high variability, really tough on us meteorologists, especially when you've got the first Saturday in May in Louisville, Kentucky involved. All right, that's a lot of responsibility and a lot of data to go through. Let's see here. Josh is on Facebook. Hush, Josh. He says he's on vacation in Destin. 78, sunny and beachy here. Sounds nice. I need to get a beach trip in. I've got one of those planned soon, thankfully. Let's see here. SPC Paducah 112 on YouTube. That's the username there. Says Ryan Hall is my favorite weather YouTuber. Yeah, he is out there a lot. He is definitely making waves on YouTube right now. Shonda says a couple of those storm chasers got caught right in the middle of one. I'm pretty sure it scared them. Yes, I have been close enough to a tornado as a storm chaser myself. And let me tell you, it will get to you pretty quickly, especially if you think that you may not be able to get out of a situation fast enough. Back in 2008, I was in kind of a tougher situation. We were fine and we were going to be fine, but just a long line of storm chasers. We weren't going fast enough. The storm was heading in. There was a rain-wrapped tornado in there. Not fun, all right? So that's not the greatest situation to be in, but most of these guys have a lot of experience. A lot of them are degreed meteorologists like me, so they know how this stuff works. I'm usually the guy that likes to stay a step away from the tornado than a lot of these guys. So like I'd like to give it just a little bit more space than maybe some of the guys you see on YouTube, some of the folks you see on YouTube there. So it's kind of my operating procedure, if you will. Just I like safety. I like being able to, go home and, be with you guys here and not being injured or worse. So that's just kind of my thing, I'll tell you that. Let's see. Kathy says, I can handle these storms with these pretty temps. I slept with my windows up last night. Yeah, I'll tell you what, the humidity is not the greatest right now. I mean, it's fine, especially for this time of year. But, your house might get a little, kind of musty, if you will, if you leave them open tonight with our dew points, kind of in the 50s to near 60 degrees here. But this isn't horrible by any stretch. This has been pretty nice. And the wind has really helped kind of knock off some of the humidity feel in the air when you've been outside here. Ryan Metcalf, or Nathan, I should say, Metcalf says, will the storms be severe tomorrow? We are not expecting severe weather around here. I showed the Monday outlook from the Storm Prediction Center here, and it showed basically just the Gulf Coast states getting involved with some minor severe weather threat. But around here, our winds are just not going to be of that caliber. In fact, let me show you that Monday severe weather threat map here, which again does not really include us as being in a problem zone at all here. And it's going to pop up on the map. And you'll see here, yeah, like Louisville, we're fine. I mean, this only comes up to like Greenwood, Mississippi, pretty much, Clarksville, Mississippi, Clarksdale, Mississippi. I know way too many Mississippi towns. Went to school there. But that's kind of the deal there is we don't have the right winds. I don't think we're just not going to have the right ingredients for severe weather around here. I was looking at several soundings on some of the model data earlier, and I was talking about this at the top of our broadcast here, but this is more of a tropical rain situation with some lightning, more so than a severe weather setup. You can still get some downburst winds and get a few problems, but I'm not really concerned about anything more than that at this point. This is just kind of general heavy thunderstorms moving through with some heavy rain. Those rainfall totals could exceed an inch in places where we have those thunderstorms setting up shop for a little bit there. I know the Weather Prediction Center put us in like a marginal, that's like a 1 out of 3, I think, risk on that scale of some, excessive rainfall, maybe some rises on creeks and streams, but that's about it. Not a huge deal. All right. So some good news there. All right. I'm going to take 1 or 2 more questions here. I'm going to wrap this thing up so that I can eat dinner because I am hungry as heck. Let's see here if we've got anything else. Oh, Scott says, thank you all for the hard work that you did with the weather forecast and everything else. We appreciate your viewership, Scott. Again, we love our viewers on YouTube and on Wave Weather Now. Those are kind of our main platforms we're trying to cater to here, just because those are the ones that we can control a lot more and give you guys a better user experience here. If you are watching us on Wave Weather Now, our live stream, I can't put the comments at the bottom of the screen because that's only for social media and YouTube. Unfortunately, the way that can be hooked up, we're still brainstorming a way to get that on our main Wave Weather Now live stream. I promise we're still thinking about you guys there. But that's why I'm reading them out loud so that you can know what folks are saying here. Nathan says, let's hope Oaks weather changes and the Derby weather stays perfect. Wouldn't that be nice? I mean, the ideal thing here that if it were me and I were to control the weather, which I don't, and I never will, unfortunately, the ideal thing would be to get that cold front through here late Thursday night after Derby festivities are over, get that line of storms through here around midnight, 1 a.m. It wouldn't be severe. And again, that would be the ideal situation. And then we would have, Oaks and Derby Day under high pressure, fronts to our east, and we'd be fine. That's the ideal situation. But unfortunately, the reality of it is such that we would likely have that line of storms coming through at some point on Oaks Day right now. But again, very changeable this distance out. Jordan says, hey, Ryan, can you give me a weather outlook for North and East Michigan? Unfortunately, I cannot, since I only do weather for the 34 counties that we serve around the Louisville area here. I don't have the means right now to drop everything and do that. But just know that you can, find some of your local TV stations up there in near Northeast Michigan. If you can find a gray television station, that would be great. That would be one of our sister stations. I know we have a few throughout Michigan, and you can check their websites as well. So look for your local TV station up there in Northeast Michigan. They'll have your forecast there. Let's see. Becca and Frank love those temperatures. And then our final comment. Shonda says, thank you, Ryan, for these live videos. They help because I don't always catch the news. And that is the goal with these, is to reach you where you are at. I know our newscasts are on, on weekdays, we've got sunrise, we've got midday, we've got the noon, we've got the 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 11. But not everybody can make appointment TV anymore, especially, with how life is these days. Folks work different shifts. And plus our newscasts only allow us to do, these 3 and 4 minute weather hits. So we have to kind of jam everything in. It has to be just kind of the bottom line and very basic so that, you guys get the forecast. But on these broadcasts, we want to come to you when you're available, which is, on your phone, on live streams, on different platforms that you may already subscribe to, and our weather app, of course. And we can go more in depth with the forecast and kind of give you our thoughts and be a bit more transparent because of the time that we have more time to do that, so that you guys can have, of course, all the data that you need, all the information that you need. Because, folks like Kathy Scott here say, I rarely watch or never watch TV, and the phone is where I get my weather. Exactly. That's where a lot of folks are trending. We're trending there too, to make sure that we're on YouTube, our live streaming app for our connected TVs, like, if you've got like a Samsung TV or Apple TV or Roku, Fire Stick from Amazon, all of those, we've got our Wave Now app there. And of course, the Wave Weather app for your phone, your iPad, your Android device. We've got our live stream there. Just tap Watch Live and you can see us when we do these updates. And we've also got that 24-hour Wave Weather Now live stream you'll see on there all the time with all the latest, information and graphics from us, that we put that together so that you can always kind of check in on the weather without actually having to have us there to guide you through it. It's kind of self-explanatory. A lot of it's written out. Makes that so easy when you don't have time to wait for us to be on there, but you can just glean kind of what's going on pretty easily from that. That's our Wave Weather Now 24/7 weather live stream. It's wave3.com/weather now. You may be watching this broadcast there right now. And if you're not, you can find it there. All right, guys, I'm going to stop blabbering here. I am Wave Meteorologist Ryan Hoke. I will be back tonight on TV on Wave News at 11 p.m. and it's Sunday night, so that means it's an hour-long broadcast. So you got me from 11 p.m. to midnight tonight, 2 different weathercasts there. I'll try to go over more of this information, and we'll look at the latest data here before we go on at 11. And if I need to make any adjustments to this 10-day that you see here on your screen, we will do so then. All right, guys, that's it for now. My name is Ryan Hoke, and I will see you tonight on Wave News at 11 with the latest on, of course, our very busy Derby week setup. Good night, everybody. We'll see you then.